Good morning, everybody. Shkoyach for coming out. We continue to learn other Aleph, sponsored the Lunish Matzivya Bracha Bas Elia, sponsored anonymously in honor of the coming of Melech HaMashiach, which happened today, by the Merkins in honor of their son Yakov Akiva, completing Nachyomi, and for protection of their son Hillel Tzvi Yehuda. The week is sponsored by Michael and Cindy Levy in honor of Daniel Liza's 19th anniversary and for the safety of our Chayalim and healing the Ptzulim by the Reinitzes, and thanks and appreciation to the Nashim Tzadkanios of our incredible community, and by the Hanukkmans for the Refuah Shlema of Elia Shir Ben Hadassah Elisheva Beile should have a Refuah Shlema. Okay, the pages went around? Yeah? Everyone has? Okay. Bezrat Hashem, today we're going to see something really beautiful in this wonderful Ma'amar of Rav Kluger. We've been learning Ma'amar Hashalom, and the last thing that we saw, we were talking about last week, where we were speaking about the negative, basically the negative tzad, the negative side of taking yourself out of the moment. How rare it is that we're actually in the moment. And we've been speaking about that for the last few weeks, actually. How fast we are, even in moments of kedusha, to kind of take ourselves out of it and not really experience it through the neshama, but like looking at ourselves from the side. And we spoke about how this is due to basically a world of embarrassment. This speaks about the difference between Adam and Chava before the Chet and after the Chet. This speaks about all these different things that are so relevant to now. What today we're going to be seeing is dafka, the beauty, the wonderment of the ability that we have to actually go outside ourselves. It's actually b'chavana. That there are certain times where it's actually supposed to be like this. You're supposed to come outside, and I think it's just something that is important, very, very important for us to keep in mind, and that when it happens, to realize, wow, yesh po izdamnut, there's actually an opportunity to do this. So, I would say like this, who here davens Nusach Sfard at home? Yeah? Well, most people? Okay. So this is actually going to be helpful. But understand something that's in the Siddur that maybe we just don't notice that often. But here we're going to see something beautiful that happens to us in the Siddur. So on the pages that I gave out, it's the bottom of Kuf Nun Bet. It's the paragraph that begins Omnam Kayemet Ma'ala. Where is it in the Sefer? Kuf Mem Vav. Okay, so in the Sfarim it's Kuf Mem Vav. Esther, can you pass me a page? Okay. This is absolutely beautiful. Omnam kayemet ma'ala behistaklut mibachutz. There's a ma'ala of being able to look from outside. Kegon shemo'ila lehachin et haguf likrat ha'ara ha'omedet lachul mitzad haneshama. When are there moments when it's actually good to go out of yourself, where you prepare your body towards an illumination that's about to happen, mitzad haneshama, like setting yourself, like preparing yourself and saying, okay, get yourself together. I would say like this by Hasidim, and by many men here, who I would like to consider to be part of Hasidim, you put on a gartel before we daven. What's the inyan of a gartel? So a gartel is one of the things that we say about a gartel is that it's mavdi, it's basically a divider between up and down, the different energies of the body. But there's an actual act. There's something that happens to you when you take the gartel and you put it on. What are you basically subconsciously proclaiming? I'm now going into a different zone. What is this zone for? I'm going now into tefillah. So maybe it's like a very simple act. I know many of your husbands wear gartels. So it's maybe a simple act, but it's basically it's almost this like, okay, I'm now acknowledging that right now I'm going to be experiencing something, and I'm doing something of actual preparation to go and move into that place, preparing myself for about to experiencing something from mitzad haneshama, the body preparing the soul, the body preparing the body that it's going to be part of a neshama dika zach, put more or less. This is basically the preparing, that happens. Hamitbatet be'amirat hineni muchan u'mezuman lekayem mitzvahs aseh. This is just beautiful. When I say to myself, hineni muchan u'mezuman lekayem mitzvahs aseh, so where do we have this in?
Before Baruch Shamar.
So there it's even more meduyak. There, Sfirat HaOmer, you do it by Leil Seder.
You don't say it before your...
Well, we do, but not everyone does. You're supposed to do it before every single kos. Hineni muchal mazum l'kayem mitzvot aseh shel kos rishon sheni nachon. Now, Hasidim do this kimat all the time. It's not just for Pesach, it's all the time. Now, but it's good that you mentioned Baruch Shamar. And I thought about it right now in davening. Okay, we're davening, we started davening and everything. And now we're about to say words that are so powerful. Baruch Shamar v'aya olam. Blessed is the one that said, let there even be a word. Baruch merachem ala aretz. The blessed is the one that has compassion on the whole world. Baruch merachem ala briot. But what are the words I say before proclaiming such mindful, powerful statements? Hareini mizamen et pi lehodot ulehalel leshabeach et bori. What does that mean? I'm inviting. Well, mizamen is like not just mizamen can be inviting, and it can also be I'm like preparing. Hareini mizamen et pi lehodot ulehalel leshabeach et bori. I'm inviting my mouth. I'm preparing my mouth to now be part of what I'm going to be doing right now. Like godly words, prophetic words, words of such beauty, and such light, and such holiness are about to come out. And therefore I say, Hareini mizamen et pi, therefore I say, I'm inviting my mouth right now to really be conscious and aware of what's going to happen. Who's saying that? A person from the outside or a person that's on the inside? Person on the outside. If I'm in the inside, I don't have to do anything. But because I'm on the outside, I'm saying, Yalla, be aware of what's about to happen right now. Yeah, you're going to say it anyway. You'll get the checklist, Akol Beseder. But mamash, like be aware, be prepared for that. What's going to happen right now, it's kedai to be awake for. Hareini mizamenet, I'm inviting my mouth right now to be part of such a beautiful moment. Now, there's another time we kind of say this, just in different words. Right before Shmona Esrei. It's almost the same thing. Hashem sfatai tiftach, ufi agiti latecha. Who's saying that? The body or the soul? I want everyone to think about this. This is really important. Hashem sfatai tiftach, ufi agiti latecha. Who's saying that? The body. The neshama doesn't have lips, as far as I know.
No, but the neshama knows that it's the only way it can connect Hashem, the way that Hashem has asked us to do, is doing something via the body. So it's like it's got to be together.
It's already much more together, because now you've been davening, you've been doing all these invitations, you put on a gartel, you say Hareinis. Listen, before any of this, what's the Hareini Mekabel Alai that we do before any of that? After Chakamochas, even according to the Arizal, there has to be this like acknowledgement, okay, I'm about to do something, and in order to do that, I have to Mekabel on myself something. Basically, what we're saying over here is like this. Throughout davening, it's Ratzov Vashov. We're in and out, let's face it. Rarely are there people that when they start davening, it's a 100% soulful experience that then you start to, it ceases to be at the end. Some tzaddikim are like this. For instance, it says about the Kotzker Rebbe that it would take him about 40 minutes to remember and come back to where he was after he davened. He was just, sometimes it says like he would start in one place, sitting down in one place, and then he found himself in a completely different place in the Beis Medrash at the end, because he was just traveling in worlds and maybe pacing. I don't know what it was. And then that's being someone that's so inside that at the end of davening it's something else. Then,
interesting. Sorry to cut you
yeah.
off, but I'm reading a biography about the Kotzker Rebbe actually it speaks about how he was such a big proponent, like very kind of inspiring person, but a very big proponent of doing all this inner work. Like, which is really interesting, because you wouldn't think about that. What do you think of
That
it?
that he would need, meaning because you would think what? You would
Like,
think,
he's just like, get your act together, everybody. But,
well,
but
that's what he would say to others, maybe, but to himself,
but
yeah.
No, but even in that way, he was also saying to people, that means all of you, you know?
Oh yeah,
Which is just
oh yeah, nachon,
saying, like, to tap into tefillah like that.
100%, 100%. Which one are you reading?
Something souls, jumping, leaping.
Oh, leaping,
souls.
yeah. That's, I mean, everything about him is. He was something else. Lukotzki Rebbe was just mashu acher legamre. Thank you. Lukotzki Rebbe was something else legamre. I'll tell you now a flip side story is that one time Rebbe Lev Yitzchak was davening, and a few chaver were davening behind him, and he said hello to them when they first walked in, and then at the end of davening, he went up to them and he said, "Hey, shalom aleichem, how you doing?" They said, "You saw us when we walked in here. What's going on over here?" He's like, "I know, but I overheard all your schmoozes about all the travels you have. You might in your davening, you traveled to Rome, you traveled to Yerushalayim even. This is in Berdichev. You traveled there. You spoke about this. I see you're back now. I want to say shalom aleichem, greetings, come back." Meaning the exact opposite of being in there. That's the flip side story. But here, what we've been speaking about is this harmony between the body and the soul. Mamar Shalom, to really establish Shalom Bayis. So we have to, I find this to be important. Sometimes I can get really hard on myself when I realize that I lost it during davening, and then I'm like, well, what hallelujah am I up to? Or did I say Vayam Shama Tishmu Mitzvos? Like when I get to the end of the second part of Shema, I'm wondering, this sounds very familiar to the first part of Shema. Did I already say Vayam Shama Tishmu Mitzvos? And the nervous grins you have means that you know what I'm talking about right now. The men are like, I don't know, the men, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, Malasot. Yes, in and out, all the time.
Amen.
Here he's saying, I think, like what I'm getting from this is saying, the reason why that Hareini Mizaman is Pi, Lehodo Sulhala L'Shabach is Bori, I'm inviting myself to be part of what I'm actually going to be doing, doesn't happen necessarily only once in the beginning of davening. That happens when you already think you already started to daven. All right, even according to, it happens a little bit later in Sfard. By Ashkenaz, it happens like kimat right away, right when you begin, right? In Nusach Ashkenaz, you have Mizmor Shir, Chanukat Habayit David, and then you go right into Baruch Shamar, right? Okay, so it's an extra, you have in Sfard, an extra Hodu Hashem Kiru Bishmo before. But that's the point, is that in this world, to fully be there, I have to constantly invite myself. I have to constantly prepare myself to say, this is about to happen, you better show up, you better be with it. It's a good thing. Don't be too hard on yourselves. These things happen. And that's why the davening, even like I davened, Psuke, I davened Birkot HaShachar, Psuke de Zimra, Birkot Kriyat Shema, and then even after all that, I say, Hashem Sfatai Tiftach Ufi Agiti Latecha. And even then I'm saying, okay, open up my lips so that Bezrat Hashem praises can come before you, right? This happens all the time because we're not made of this. Most of us are not made of this inyan of like just being on. So the body making the invitation for the body to be present right now in each of these moments can only happen from the outside in. This is when it's good to notice something from the outside and then invite yourself to go into the inside. See, up until now, the shooting, we've been talking about, God, we're so never in the moment. We take ourselves out of the moment. And now I feel like here he's saying, no, there are moments where this is what happens in our life. We're not always in it. But that's okay. As much as the neshama would love to always be in it, that's okay. That's what we have the koach hadibur. That's why we have these invitations to come in, to be part of it. So right after the words, Hineni muchan mezuman lekem mitzvat aseh v'chadomeh, המחשבה כאילו עומדת על גבי הגוף. The thought is like standing on top of the body, לעוררו, to wake up the body, לקראת התחברות מיוחדת אל הנשמה הטהורה המבקשת להאיר בו. It's saying, this thought is saying, coming to the body and saying, yeah, wake up, you're about to connect to something beautiful, you're about to connect to your pure soul, and it's asking of you to be present. ברם לאחר מכן, בשעת קיום המצווה, צריכה המחשבה הצדדית להתאחד עם הגוף, להיותם יחד בחיבור מושלם אל הנשמה, או לכל הפחות לסלק עצמה לגמרי. Later on, though, that thought process of, the invitation thought process, the proclamation, the alarm clock, then has to go to the side or completely lehe'alem, disappear in order for you to mamish be in it. So it serves its purpose to bring you in, but then if it still stays and hang around, you're looking at him like, no, I'm good. You could go now. There's yichud here. Now he brings a beautiful mashal. Keshatchan. Imagine if the Shadchan came into the yichud room. That'd be pretty weird. Like, no, thank you. You did your gig. Like, no, I just want to make sure I'm good. I'm good. Keshatchan ha'amel lekarev ben atzadim. So Shadchan's trying to bring two sides close. ולאחר מכן מניח להם להתאחד ביניהם בלי שיתערב עוד לעולם. מבין שכבר אין כאן מקומו. So that Shadchan, it's a beautiful word we have, a beautiful title for this invite, right? What's the invite's name? He's a Shadchan. Say, come, you guys would do good together. I could see. Body, guf and neshama. You guys would do good together. So thank you. Oh my God, I'm going to pay you. Whatever you're in Eretz Yisrael, it's a big thing. In America, it's a big thing. Shadchanas, no? Yeah. Here, I don't know. They do?
Arabian.
No, in our community, I don't think if you introduce someone to someone here, they would come up to you and say to you, what do I have to pay? But whatever. I don't want to bash it. Everyone has to find a way to make parnasa. Everyone should have parnasa. The Baal Shem Tov, someone came to him one time and showed him some pamphlet, even in the Baal Shem Tov's time, that someone was writing, wasn't such a Yiddish, such a pneumiistic composition on the Zohar or on Kabbalah. And they saw the author's name on it, so this guy comes and said to the Baal Shem Tov, look at this, you're going to put a klal on this person, look what this person's doing. And he basically smiled, he said, Ribono Shleim, ten lekol amcha Yisrael parnasa. If this Yidla needs a little bit of parnasa, as long as he's not saying things that are sheker, let him have a little parnasa through this as well. He should be benched, he should make it. So with Shadchan is also in that world, nachon, it's a big thing there. But if the Shadchan still stays involved after he did their job, there's something weird and wrong with that Shadchan. Okay, we laugh at maybe it's funny because of course, why would a Shadchan stay in the yichud room, right? But you hear what we're saying about this. Why would a Shadchan stay in the yichud room? What's the Shadchan? The thought from the outside. Why would it stay in the yichud room? What room does it have to stay once you've come forward? Trust the yichud. Trust the oneness. Trust it. You don't need an outside thought now to keep on telling you, and now you do this, and now you do that. No. Just be in it. So he says, once that yichud happens, yalla, Shadchan, get out of the way. So he continues, and he says like this. Kmo chen, מסייעת מחשבה מן הצד לייצב את היהודי בשעת ניסיון. When else does the Shadchan thought, does this outer thought help me in life to actually go out of the moment? When I'm in a nisayon. Now, when I'm going through a test, this is beautiful. In the Torah, when do we have the clearest example of a big test and something from outside coming in to save? Avram Avinu, how? I wasn't thinking about that, but let's think about that for a second. You see, it's hard for me to say yes about that, and I'll tell you why. Because Avram Avinu almost shechting his son was not a failure of a nisayon, according to Chassidus. Because that's what Hashem told him to do. So it's a little bit, I'd rather focus on something that is clearly no one told the person to do, and it would have been clearly wrong. Nachash, but they failed. I'm talking about something that actually succeeded, that they passed the test. Yosef. That's what I was thinking of, Yosef HaTzadik.
On the verb.
I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about something that Rashi.
Muchashi. In other words,
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying, but it's not what the shalshelet, vayima'en.
Yeah.
What caused, so let's go like that. What caused the vayima'en? Like, what caused that thingy to be like, wait a second, this is not so good. You see, when a person is feeling something in their body, physically, that feels good, and at the same time, you could even justify it in your soul. Now that happened, you could think you're justifying it in your soul. When a person's so wrapped in an isayan like that, it's almost impossible to be awakened from within to know that this is the wrong thing to do. You need something from the outside, almost. What happened by Yosef HaTzadik? He saw through it's an amazing thing. He saw that the midrashim are very, 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 very deep, but they're very strange. It's like a lot of different midrashim there, but one of them says that he basically saw himself in the window, through the reflection of the window, and the way that he looked like when he looked at himself looked like his father Yakov. That's the Gemara, I think, in Sotar in Nedarim, that Rashi brings there in the Parsha, that says that that's what saved him from going through that Nisayon, is that he saw something from the outside. Literally, he saw like a mirror image outside, which then made him look at himself differently, and that pulled him out of the whole mess. Then we've learned so many different years what actually, at the heart of it, Rav Shlomo has a long Torah on this, what actually in the heart of it got him to come out of it. But Rav Kluger is saying is that if someone brought you a mirror while you're about to do a horrible Avera, you're in a Nisayan, that's an outside thing coming to show you right now what you look like, that'd be very helpful. But you know what? Unfortunately in life, quite often when we're about to say something bad or do something wrong, no one's showing up with a mirror. And I don't have a reflection of a window in front of me. I don't have that. So Rav Kluger says the beauty of learning how to trust the thought that comes from the outside can save us. Because if I actually close my eyes while I'm about to do an Avera, and I said, I'm going to stand in the corner there with one of my children and look at me, could I still do what I'm doing right now? Chas v'shalom. So an outside thought, right? A thought that's coming from the body, that's coming from the outside of the neshama dekamaisa, could actually save me as well. I'll read it again. כמו כן, מסייעת מחשבה מן הצד לייצב את היהודי בשעת ניסיון. A thought from the outside could לייצב. יציב means stable. It could stabilize a yid in the time of a ניסיון. כאשר המהות נתונה חס ושלום במהומה, משתוללת מצד קנאה, תאווה, כבוד, when jealousy, taiva, and honor, which are the three things, we were speaking about this last night, right? Maybe I was talking about it. No, I think we were speaking about this last night. When kin'ah, when jealousy, taiva, lust, and the fight over honor is what you're dealing with, ata lo ro'eh shum davar. You don't see anything. You become blind to everything else in the world. These three things, kin'ah, ta'ava, v'kavod. You forget everything in the world. You just don't see anything. You don't remember anything. You're not thinking about anything in the future. All you see in the moment is what you're feeling right now. So a person can say, but Rav Kluger says the whole inyan is to dafka be fully in the moment. And right? And you could take that teaching and completely abuse it. B'shem Torah. And these things happen. Chazal tell us when a person is overcome with jealousy, that's all they see. And they cannot, and they say, listen, I can't get out. There's nothing I can do to get out of this. Same thing with certain taivas, and the same thing when someone comes and it's pogan your kavod, or when you run after kavod. You're obsessed with it. You're consumed with it. There's nothing you could do with it. In that moment, in those moments more than ever, dafka, going to the outside, operating from the outside, can mamish save your life. והערפל מבלבל ושולט עליה. The fog, the cloudiness, the unclarity completely controls you. אזי יש כוח במחשבה לעורר הבטה מן הצד. That same thing we said is so bad, over here is so good. There's the mind, the brain, the koach hamachshava, our thought process has this beautiful thing in it that could actually awaken something from the outside and say, get a deeper look at yourself. Check out what you're about to do. Check out what you look like. Check out what you look like. The machshava can do this. The thought can actually do this. Like while you're in it, if you got a glimpse of how ugly you look, that would probably be the thing that would prevent you from going forward more than anything else. If you got a taste, if you got a glimpse of how ugly and disgusting you mamish look at the moment, that you're about to just let yourself be completely overcome with being consumed with one of these three things. That's he's saying here, this is a good nikuda of when we go from the outside. Okay? לסייע כך, לכוח ההתגברות לייצב את הדת ולהעמידה על כנה. This gives aid to the power of overcoming to stabilize the da'at and make you stand again on your own 2 feet, like in a proper way. כמו, אם ישמע אדם הקלטה. Now, if you don't know what that means, right, tape. של דיבוריו בשעת כעסו. Did you ever hear yourself get angry at your children? Not in your own mind. Was it ever recorded? Has it ever happened to anybody? That you actually heard a recording or saw a video? He's not even going with video here. That's already too modern. But did you ever hear, I shouldn't do this, I'm under the assumption that you've gotten mad at your children, but if it happened, okay, if it happened, did anyone here ever hear themselves actually getting mad at their children? I did. You did? You heard a recording?
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. It was just like a video. And like on the side, I was saying, go out of the way or something. Well, let me cut that out.
Right. I did one time by accident. My wife knows this. My phone has I don't always, whatever, these things have a life of their own. And on the voice memos, I have it open a lot because for shiurim or to catch a niggun, so that the voice memo app was on. And I didn't realize that the button was on of recording, and we were late. We were late to school or something, and something happened. And then a few weeks later, apparently it caught it. A few weeks later, I was in the office, and I was trying to find a certain shear. I'm like, wow, this is a very short shear. It was like 3.5 minutes. Oh, which one is this? And I put it on, and it was, even if I was so right at the moment, oh my God. And that's something that's coming from the side. It wasn't even I'm not trying to make myself look good. It wasn't even like screaming. It was just the way, what?
Your tone.
It was the tone. It was just the tone. Maybe it was a choice of word. And I said, I was so disgusted inside myself. Now these things happen. Don't kill yourself over it. These things happen, Nachon. He's saying, while you're in the act where you feel like I can't control my anger or my disappointment, and I have to ramish, like really give it to them, like those voices, right? No, this is a holy thing to really, really give it to them. If you hear yourself, which means you're going from the outside listening in, you could lose your mind. Now, don't worry, you'll still give over the chinuchi, the educational drasha that you're supposed to give, just in a different way, right? Just not in the tone that you'd be embarrassed and sick to hear afterwards. That's an example of something from the outside, looking in and setting us straight. Marilyn, you're the only one in here that's ever experienced this. Wow. I don't wish anyone to experience. It's not something I hope that anyone has to go through.
It's like embarrassing enough to just imagine.
Right. It's true.
Just that none of us have a haklata.
It's true. Oh, this is a big one. Look at the next example he gives. You ever see a video of yourself fress? Thank God that there aren't video cameras on us at the Shabbos table. Can you imagine, like, if there was a camera on us, like Manari Shona, after a long Shirat David davening, right? You come home, you're in it, and there's a camera right there. And okay, I'm going to watch this tape Motzei Shabbos. What would we be? So again, that's something from the outside going inside. That also, it's so interesting. That not on Shabbos, but that happened to me one time also, where someone was showing me his wedding video, and I was sitting with I had played the wedding. Now, there's very little time to eat when you're playing sets. So, if they give you food, you have to run. It's so embarrassing. You have to, and the camera went onto the band in between the sets, and we're sitting there like behemoths. And I'm like, I can't believe you put this in your video. I'm not going to say it. I can't believe you kept this in. And he's like, oh, we didn't even notice it. They didn't notice it. Of course, you notice it. No one else really notices it, but you know. So he says, if you see a picture of you, how hitlahavuto hayetera, that means you're completely exaggerated and unnecessary excitement towards especially, in America, it's a million times worse. The smorgasbords. Yeah, you know how many kibbutzim the smorgasbords in America could feed? One smorgasbord of a wedding in the 5 towns, how much it could feed? The kiddushim, this and that. If you see a picture of your hitlavut yetera b'shat achilato, tachulas busha, you'll actually sense busha. But what caused the busha to be felt? Something external, something from the outside, giving you a picture of what's going on the inside. Mula chitzoniyut shenafla v'egia el ma shenigla ata min hatzad. It's something from the outside that fell down, and now it came to the open, and it came from the side. V'yakum haguf litchaber michadash el hapnimiyut hayafa v'hateora. Something from the outside can then cause the body to now reconnect from new into the beautiful inside and pure pnimiyut. When this happens quite often forget about ourselves, there are people that point things out to us, and it's very hard for us to accept. We become judgmental. We think they're judgmental. The avodah of Kluger is trying to get us to is that we learn to develop this on our own. So that we, not just from within, but from within, I also know how to go out of myself to look. There are a lot of methods. There's a lot to say about this. One of them would be, let's go with the one that's like very, very, I'm just going to ask them to, sorry. Jerry, I love you. Go to the side. He's the best. There are a lot of methods to do this. So Tomeret, I'm talking about hitlavut yetera regarding achila. So it's just an easy one to connect to. But like with conscious eating and everything, you do say to yourself, I'm going to right now invite someone else to sit next to me while I'm eating and watch me while I'm eating, right? In my mind, right? I've seen people do this. And that's like saying, it's like going outside, knowing that someone is watching you, and then basically what's going inside is something very, very, very beautiful. Now, I want to just go a little bit deeper, and I know it's outside of the text, but this is just because we brought up Kotsk. This is a very, very deep, deep Torah that I didn't understand until this moment. And I don't know if I fully understand it, but I think now it opened the gates for it. In Kotsk, it really comes from Pshischa. There's this very, very deep notion of tshuva, that you're going to have to do tshuva over every exaggerated moment of kedusha you displayed but didn't really feel. I know. Here? I don't know. Yeah?
It feels similar to like this idea of Elul, where it's not about the things you've done wrong, it's the things you could have done better. I feel like it's like maybe similar.
Could be. This is something that I saw a few times, and I know in Kotsk, this is like Kotsk 101. That if you can actually, imagine in Shamayim, they show you a video of all those moments that you displayed, or Rav Shlomo said it, if you said like even the word in Kiddush, what word did he use? Anything, like you took one word and you did it even more than what you were really feeling, l'shem whatever. So in Kotsk they say that's going to be the big pot you're going to get with those kind of things. Now imagine if there was a video of us that showed us the exaggerated moments that weren't really what we were feeling, but we thought it would look good. Oh boy, this is heavy, deep stuff.
What about Baal Tefillah? Nobody would want to be a Baal Tefillah in that case.
100%. You'd be so.
To channel Kavana though.
That's fine. That's not what we're talking about.
You're trying to like.
That's not what we're talking about. Although the Kotzker may even say that, but that's not what I'm referring to. By the way, hence, you realize there's no Kotzk Chassidus and there's no Kotzk Beis Medrash, there's no Kotzker Yeshiva. It can't last. What's a Kotzk Yeshiva? Like what's a Kotzk Beis Medrash? The inyan would be to try to close it down as soon as you could, b'shem ha'emes. That would be a Kotzker Beis Medrash, right? So I'm not talking about that, Chevy. We definitely have that inyan to arouse, to awaken. So I'm not there yet, but I want to wake something up. I'm not talking about that. We're speaking about, because to watch a video of that, it wouldn't bother me at all. No, I'd be proud of that.
Pretend, like really faking it.
He's not even working so hard on faking. You're just, you're doing it.
Outside
Yeah.
in.
Well, it's not in. That's the thing. It's outside. Outside in is what you said. Outside in is basically, again, if I watch the videotape of outside in, Stomeret, I'm going to go a little bit more to get me to get there, that wouldn't hurt me so much to watch. That wouldn't bring any busha. But if you showed me a video of outside, right? Outside, that means that the thing from the outside it wasn't even an attempt to penetrate. It was the shame staying outside. That'd be horrible. That'd be a horrible thing. And that's why in Kotzk, the test, the book that was written, where did the Kotzker Rebbe get this? But he took it even way deeper. He got it from his Rebbe, Reb Simcha Bunim Abshischa. Reb Simcha Bunim Abshischa, where did he learn from? And he was even they were by the Choiz of Lublin. And over there in Lublin, the whole thing was like, it was big. It was big stuff. Things looked big. There were miracles taking place. It was muftim, all these things. And then like Rabbi Mickey Rosen Rav Shlomo wrote his book, The Quest for Authenticity. Like those words even make you feel frum. They make you feel good. Like you feel kind of like inside person. Like, oh, I know of a book, or I have a book called The Quest for Authenticity. Do you know how hard that book is? It's actually one of the hardest books because it's also an academic writing about where Reb Simcha Bunim Abshischa, where and how he developed this quest for authenticity. So I'm bringing all these things up to show us that really from the outside in, if we got glimpses, if we had the video camera on us, more than we realize. And today, by the way, just, I don't know if you're aware, you do have video cameras on you all the time, whether you realize it or not, in the era that we're living in, right? We could see these things happen all the time.
Not in shul, right?
Of course. It's not in this room, but
In the shul itself.
of course. The first thing in my office, before there was a chair, there was a camera in there. 100%. 2024. Main shul as well. There's about 8 or 10 cameras in the building. No, it's not there to check to see what we're talking about right now. Although I'm saying, you're freaking out. Although if we wanted to monitor our state of genuine tefillah, it actually is possible. That's the truth. It actually is possible. But
Cutzkish to me.
huh?
So that feels a little cutzkish.
No. It's not for that.
You could always ransom and have a fundraiser.
Big time, yeah. Who doesn't want to be shown their hitlavut yetera? Because he's saying over here hitlavut yetera in eating, but sometimes it's hitlavut yetera according to Kotzk. There's a concept called hitlavut yetera even in dvarim ruchanim. Yetera means it's not really it. Like the hitlavut, it's not. You're not there. You're not deep enough. You're not smart enough to be able to really get as excited about what the Rav just said. Like I was yesterday by Rav Ginsburg, and I'm thinking to myself, every time I have the privilege of sitting next to him, I realize that all the times that I got happy when I was with him next to him in the past, because of what I thought I just heard, are probably not as real. Because every time I'm with him, I realize it is infinitely deeper than whatever I thought a second before. But I know that the Sitra Achra wants to take me down at that moment and say, you're phony, and just stop. Don't ever come again. Don't ever accept any invitation, anything. That's also sheker. It's this constant monitoring ourselves. That's the avodah over here. To constantly monitor ourselves and hope that at each stage of the way, we're really real with the moment that we're in. And to think for a second, if there was a video camera here, sometimes you have to do this, would I be one with what I see? Would I be one with what I'm seeing? So first of all, I just want to give us a bracha that if they ever, did play for us things that we weren't so much one with what we're seeing, to not freak out, to be thankful that there's an awakening from the outside that's showing me that inside I'm not as gishmak as I think. That's okay. That's the story of this world. That's the dance of this world. That's what Rabbi Nachman speaks about. Baki b'ratza, baki b'shov. Learning the whole, there's a whole avodah of learning how to fall. But Be'emet, it's so interesting that Kotzk really couldn't make it. Because this kind of Torah Kotzk-wise, you just can't make it. You can't do anything with it in this world. That's probably why he, the last 13 years of his life, he was alone in his room. He wasn't even with people in Kotzk Rebbe. And then the Ishbitzer, it's a whole story, but whatever, the Ishbitzer was his Talmud. The Meshulach was a Talmud of the Kotzk Rebbe. But it was Simchas Torah, the seclusion was already happening. It's a long story, and there's a few Girsos also. There's a few versions as to the split, what exactly happened. But the Ishbitzer felt, Hasidim, they need their Rebbe. Even if it's going to be intense, they need their Rebbe. They need the back and forth. Then they went, and he spent the last 13 years of his life in a town called Ishbitzer that he moved to. But the Meshilach, Reb Mordechai Yosef Leiner, he was with the Kotzker Rebbe. And they were both together by Reb Simcha Bunim Abshescha. So that line, it's interesting that Kotzk didn't not last because of the Holocaust. You understand? Certain Chassidus they were wiped out, and some of them became very small really because of the Holocaust, but that wasn't the story with Kotzk. Okay. Now just the last paragraph, one more paragraph, because I'm going to be a good boy and get you out of here today at 10 o'clock, not 20. Last week was, I don't know what it was, 10:20, 10:30. Okay, now just the next page, the top paragraph. Ach berov chilkei hachayim, but regarding most of life, tzarich Yehudi lahafik lapoal et or haneshama. A Yid has to produce lemaise, the light of the soul, mitoch chibur tiv'i v'shalem im hamachshava, connecting fully and naturally, completely to our thoughts. Lechaber el tocho et kol chalakea be'ofen shelo tipared be'istaklut mibachutz. Really, essentially, what should be the most ideal thing is that I don't have to go out of my mind to look in to know if I'm for real. That this whole process that we just spoke about video cameras or tapes in order to get me to be real, that whole thing happens inside. That I don't lose, you understand? I don't have to go outside in order to get my inside together, but rather that this whole process is something that happens to me while I'm still kashur legamre with myself.
That's before the sin of Adam.
That's why it's the tikkun of Adam and Chava, this Torah. 100%. Very, very good. Nachon.
It's exhausting, that entire dynamic.
The outside.
I'm saying we always have to be valuing ourselves. We always have to be. It's very exhausting.
This isn't a piece of cake either, meaning this is not like smooth sailing, but it's definitely using the kochot in a way that give us more koach as opposed to exhausting them. Yeah, I agree. Nachon.
What's interesting is also I'm thinking of the mitzvah that we have to see ourselves as if we left Mitzrayim.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So let's go with that. So what would that look like?
Meaning we have this mitzvah of looking at ourselves. What's the pasuk?
Well, I'll tell you, it's different because you're Lubavitch, so I'm going to tell you the way you say it. The Seder is different than most people. The Alter Rebbe changed one word there. Usually, everyone says, B'chol dor v'dor, chayav adam lir'ot et atzmo ki'ilu hu yatsa miMitzrayim. That in every generation, a person has to see themselves as if they left Egypt. The Alter Rebbe changed that. He said, B'chol dor v'dor, chayav adam, does anyone know? Lehar'ot et atzmo ki'ilu hu yatsa miMitzrayim.
That's harder.
Which is so deep. Lehar'ot means, how would you say that? To
Present one's.
to present themselves to the world as if they left Egypt. Lehar'ot et atzmo. That's how the Alter Rebbe says it. So now go, well, but now does it work with what you were saying?
Yeah.
Right. That's why, no, I'm giving, it's minhag. It could be both, really. It could work, but I hear that it's a little bit different than what you were going to say. Wait, Marilyn, you want to say something?
Yeah, so then the Chazal feels that we do need that sometimes whenever we add the Hineni they put that in.
They do, but again, even the hineni, right, is still really happening inside of me. Like, it's not something that's happening outside of me, taking me out of the moment. In the emes, it's really still happening within. It's just not as deep as already being inside it. So I need the hineni to invite myself even deeper, to go deeper in the place. Same with Hashem Sfatai Tiftach Ufi Agiti Latecha. It's just basically constantly saying, like, okay, it could even get more than this. You're still here, now go even deeper. You're still here, now go even deeper. And then you'll reach a place where you're going to have a thought that says, okay, now you're here, and then at that moment you're like, Shadchan, thank you. I'm good. Echad Yachid Umyuchad. And now I'm in the Heichal. Now there's nothing from the outside. There's nothing that's not from the inside that can take me any closer to where I need to get to. This is it. I've reached it. And maybe this is why Tfilas Ne'ilah is called Ne'ilah. Because what's the act of Ne'ilah? It's that I'm closing I'm closing the gates from anything from the outside that could tell me I need anything. You're just there, be in it, trust it. I don't need any outer invitations coming from anywhere from that's not with what's here right now. So Ne'ilah is very, like, that's basically like, talk about Shalom Bayis. Ne'ilah is the Kodesh HaKodashim, it's the bedroom, it's the inside, it's the Yichud room. And at that moment, the gates are closed because I don't want anything to come in and interrupt me and take me out from what I'm going through right now. I just want to be in it. B'li shum bilbul.
You need all the fasting and all the davening to get there.
You need the month of Elul,
Right.
Rosh Hashanah, Asay Simei Tshuva, and then all of Yom Kippur just for that. Nachon. These moments, like the real Shalom Bayis things, you need all of that. It doesn't have to be like a painful process. It should be the happiest process in the world, but it's hard work. You need all of that to reach the place of Shalom Bayis and trust it and not need anything from the outside anymore. There's a lot more to say about that. There's a lot more. I just want to finish this paragraph. We're in the fifth or sixth line from the top. If you're in Yichud, think about this, if you're in the Yichud room and you have to keep on coming outside to ask people, did I marry the right person? You just messed up the whole thing. That's basically what he's saying. You could ask the holiest people in the world. But if you have to ask anybody, if you need a machshava from the outside, when you're in the Yichud room, it's over. מקלקלת את העניין, גורמת לו להפסיק להיות במה שהיה, causes you to stop being where you are, כאילו מושכתו אחריה אל החוץ, ומעתה זקוק לעמוד מחדש, להיכנס פנימה, ולהתחבר אל ההרגש הפנימי, and now you have to start the whole thing all over again, and that is exhausting. That is exhausting. So this was a very crucial piece in the building of what we're trying to do here, which is to get a sense of a real harmonious oneness between the body and the soul, so that we could be people that really have inside Shalom Bayis. Now, what is this door? What does this door, and this is, ask all the specialists in mental health, what is the thing that really has taken over this door more than any other door? What condition? No, a condition, like a medical condition, huh?
Anxiety.
Anxiety. Yeah, anxiety. Anxiety. This is now, again, we have to be very careful with these things. Of course, there are cases that it's not, all these titles in the world can't help it. There's something genetic going on and you have to get the proper help. But there's a whole element of anxiety by frum Yidden. Okay, why? Because of this stuff. Because no one ever taught them a language of how it's supposed to come, it's supposed to stem together. I have a good friend, Rabbi David Ingber in New York, and he came up with the term, how does he say it? It's so cute. PTGD. Post-traumatic God disorder. Did you ever hear this? PTGD. And this is giving us like this medicine for PTGD. Like, let me hold on a second. Shniya achat. It can't be that it's, this is giving us a chance to learn a language that produces shalom bayis, which just enables me to have a beautiful relationship with Hashem, even when it hurts, and even if I fall, and even if I'm not kotsk, even if I'm not doing all the things I wish I could be, it just gives me the kelim to be able to flow in a much more healthy way. And Bezrat Hashem will have many more opportunities to get the chance to produce shalom bayis, and if that could heal a part of our anxiety, especially when it comes to spirituality and to the Rebbeinu Shalom and to Yiddishkeit, we're very rich, because it's a very big gift. If we could actually take advantage of this gift. All right, should be a good Shabbos, everybody.